Hello students, this is Suraj Rasal here. Now, before starting with the next unit, okay, one sub unit is remaining from your fifth unit, that is Android Studio introduction part, that is Android application development and its execution. Okay, so in this today's session, I'll just try to cover the theory and practically related part of Android Studio. How how does Android application is developed in Android Studio and how it is executed in Java runtime environment and so on. Okay, so I will just try to cover up its basics since you have already started with your Android Studio's practical sessions. So you might be gone through the basics of Android Studio, how to develop an application, how to code it, how to develop its user interface and so on. But still, you can refer to this session to cover it cover its basics and how you should start with developing your Android Studio and so on. Okay, so basically, I'll try to cover the uh, I'll try to cover the introduction to Android Studio through a very simple application that is you might and already you might be have done some applications related to Android Studio, like how to develop calculator application and so on. So in today's session I'll try to compare calculator application with its theoretical part also. Okay, so just try to refer first page in my presentation file, that is presentation file related to Android application development and execution. So basically, as Android applications are developed in Java program. So basically, as Android applications are developed in Java programming language. Okay, so the prerequisite to run Android Studio within your system is your system should be installed with JDK, that is Java Development Kit. Okay, and which includes JRE, that is Java Runtime Environment. So obviously, while learning Java programming language, you might be able to learn how to install JDK package, how to include this package within your operating system, and even though you might be able to learn how JVM works in your previous sessions also. Still, again, try to remind just how JVM works is. Okay, so while learning BlackBerry operating system, I had introduced you about JVM's working, in which what I taught you is like if any application or any program developed in Java file, that is which is installed in a .java extension file, so the Java compiler will convert this respective .java file into the .class file. And JVM is a part of in short, see, when JDK is installed in a particular operating system, it takes some space of RAM, and after some space of RAM is always reserved for this JVM, which runs with respect to the JIT, that is just in time environment. Okay, and basically your JVM includes class loader, bytecode verifier, and its execution engine. Okay, so these are three major components available in JVM. So as I said, that Java compiler will convert this .java file into its respect to .class files. So those class files will be loaded into JVM by class loader of this of its own component. This class loader will again transfer this class files to the byte code verifier component, which is going to verify each binary information, and this information will be again further passed through to the execution engine, which is going to execute the compiled or converted bit stream into RAM, and then only its output will be generated, and this output will be again passed through the respective components of system to the display. Okay, So this is how JVM works. So this is a little bit basics, and you have already learned so many times this how does this JVM works. I thought that it will be better to introduce to again same part while learning Android application development. So you should have knowledge about how Android application is executed. So this is in short theoretical part related to the Android application execution. Okay, always remember, as in today's session I will try to cover up two major points. First one is Android application development and Android application execution. So this theory is related to the Android application execution. So I hope you have understood how Android application is executed in a particular system. Okay, now for its understanding purpose, you can refer any any JVM architecture, that is how specifically Java code is executed through Java compiler, or you can go through the even though in the beginning also I taught you this part also how JVM works. So you can compare that architecture, architecture in the sense which includes .java file, then its compiler, then its class, then the JVM environment, and so on. So you can refer same diagram to explain how, which includes .java file, then its compiler, then its class, then the JVM environment, and so on. So you can refer same diagram to explain how Java application is executed, and you can describe its theory also. Okay, so this is theory related to the Android application execution. Now let's see how Android application is developed. So let's start with next second point, and my presentation file just try to refer second point as what I have mentioned it as in this session. It is focused on how does an Android application is developed and executed. Now let's see its point file description. Okay, so let's see the introduction to Android Studio user interface. Okay, now after installing Android Studio within your system, okay, see, basically the prerequisite, that is the prerequirement to run Android Studio within your system is your system should be installed with at least 5 GB of RAM, not 5 GB. It is advised from my side that your system should be installed with at least 7 GB, 6 to 7 GB RAM, because what is the thing is, the minimum requirement to run Android Studio is 4 GB. Now how does 4 GB is? Now let's see, 2 GB is required to run actual Android Studio, plus 2 GB RAM might be required to run its emulator if you don't have Android phone. If you have Android phone, then you can directly connect your Android phone to the system where you are going to run your Android Studio. Now why does it require your smartphone is because you may need to see its output through the connected device or through its emulator. So adding the RAM of your Android emulator plus your Android Studio, at least your system should have 4 GB of RAM, and plus 1 GB is required to run your host operating system. It might be Windows or other operating system too. This is first thing. Second thing is, after installing Android Studio within your system, you should enable the virtual environment of your system by going through the BIOS setting of your system. Okay, all system has different settings. Like if you wish to go to the BIOS setting, some systems, you can have access through the BIOS, which will include the environment which you need to enable, and after that only you will be able to run your Android emulator within your system. Okay, so these are basics. You can go through it within the manual of Android Studio installation process and so on. Okay, now what I am assuming that you have already understood how to install Android Studio within your system, and after that you have run or built a new project within your Android Studio. Okay, now let's start with that part only. Sorry. So here first just try to go through my second major point as Android application development and output generation, which has the first point as introduction to Android Studio user interface. Okay, now just open first image, that is intro1.png image. Okay, we'll find the respective images in the folder directly. Just open that intro1.png. Okay, so when you are going to run the new project within your Android Studio, here you will find this kind of user interface is available. Okay, so here you will find at the left most side you will find one hierarchy is available, like app, okay, which includes your .java file, that is your main file. Below that you will find one subfolder named as res, which stands for resources. Again it includes some subfolder as a drawable. Okay, now if you click on drawable folder, okay, here only you can drag and drop the required images or any multimedia files to develop your Android application. Like if you wish to develop an application which includes some set of images, so you can just copy those images and paste it within this drawable folder. So here you can drag and drop your images, required images, and so on. Now after that here you will find it includes two main files, that is activity underscore main.xml and another one is main activity.java file. So basically this activity underscore main.xml file is nothing but the file which includes XML code related to your user interface, through which you can write down your own code to make your user interface too, which includes a set of tags. Okay, like by default when you are going to run your new Android Studio project, it always includes one hello world program. Okay, so basically in this introduction1.png image, hello world when the text view tag is used, which includes the text equal to hello world. Okay, so this is the by default program which is available. Okay, after that just try to open intro2.png. Now here you will find activity underscore main XML file has again two subcomponents, that is first one is its design view and another one is text one. So in previous image, that is the activity underscore main xml.xml file is displayed, which includes your normal XML code. Okay, see and you can see left side of this left side of this text part is nothing but your design view. So in short, this design view is nothing but this user interface, that is intro2.png image. Now if you see, by default it includes one hello world program. Okay, now below this that is in intro2.png image, below to the activity underscore main.xml name, you will find one palette is available. This palette includes a set of components which are very important components to make your user interfaces. Now such kind of user interface components you have already learned by learning your Visual Studio in previous semesters. Just try to revise them, because little bit the syntax is similar, and whatever the things you called for respective component properties, now those properties are again little bit similar in this Android Studio also. So within this palette you will find it includes some containers, images, text, then say layouts, date, images, design, and so on. Okay, now very simple example, if you considered say text, then text includes 2 to 3 subcomponents like first one is text edit text, another one is text view. Now very simple and very basic thing, if you compare both, that is what is text view and what is text view is, sorry, what is edit text and what is text view is. So edit text is one kind of text box used to get input from user, where you are able to type any content within that text box. And text view is nothing but non-editable text, that is you can directly use this field to deliver or to display any text within your user interface. So these are such kind of components are available within this palette, even though buttons, radio buttons and so on, so drop down menu and so on. So the basic components are available in this Android Studio's palette. Now after that user interface screen, you can see to the right side its properties are available, that is the properties option is available. So properties option actually includes the respective attributes of the used component. Very simple example, in this example by default it includes a hello world. Okay, so hello world basically uses the text view component from the palette of that Android Studio. So if you single click on that text view, it will try to display the respective attribute properties of that particular component, that is text view component. Okay, so if you single click on this hello world, it is going to display the attribute properties of text view of that particular component. Now within this attribute properties, you can set any attribute property, like a very simple example, the id is a very important property, which is attribute property, which is further used or referenced in your main.java file also. Like in this intro2.png, this hello world is considered as text attribute property of this text view basically. Okay, so this is these are basics related to your Android Studio. Let's open another file, that is intro3.png. Now here you will find the main activity.java file has been shown. Okay, so basically your logical programming part you need to do it here. So activity.java file has been shown. Okay, so basically your logical programming part you need to do it here. So you can write down your Java code based on your user interface, you can fetch the information also and so on. So it's up to you how to code it based on the application design or developed. You need to write down its Java code here basically. So I hope you have understood which are the types of files you need to deal with while developing Android application. Okay, now again just open the presentation file. Okay, so the first point is introduction introduction to Android user interface. And also within app hierarchy we already seen what is apps, what is resource folder and so on. And recently we have seen API environment, which includes two major files. Okay, first file is related to your user interface and another file is related to your logical programming view. So if you see again this presentation point, a point is user interface view, which includes a set of that is a components palette, which includes a set of components like your image buttons, radio buttons, drag down, drop down menu, then say the multiple choice type button, in short radio button, text fields including text view, edit text and so on. And within user interface view, as we already seen in its text field, we have seen one XML code which includes a set of tags, like as by default hello world program includes one text view tag. Okay, similar tags you might be have learned while learning HTML and XML. So some tags are included within the XML programming language within this Android Studio. So this is basically A part, that is user interface view. Now next part is your B, that is logical programming view, which includes activity pages with which are nothing but your Java files. Now obviously your Java file includes a set of packages, class, function, variables, and so on. So I'm not going to tell you the basics related to Java. You have already learned Java while learning so many subjects in previous semesters. So this is nothing but your logical programming view. Sorry. Okay, now let's start with the actual example to learn the basics of Android application development. So just open images, and within that just try to open intro4.png. Okay, now here just open images, and within that just try to open intro4.png. Okay, now here what I have done is, okay, just only used you know 4 components. Okay, basically let's consider the example where you are going to calculate the addition of two numbers. Okay, so if anybody asks you, just try to develop an application which can calculate addition of that is, which will make addition of two numbers. So how many components you will require? So if you go through this this image, then you will find that total 4 components are used. That is, 4 components have been dragged and dropped from the palette of Android Studio. Obviously the 4 components are necessary. Now how do so is, like, if you consider the number 1 and number 2, that is no1 no2 are two text boxes used. As I have already explained you, the text box includes 2 types. First one is edit text and another one is text view. Edit text is used to get the user input, where the user will be able to edit the text, and text view is nothing but just to display the text. Whatever text is coming from the backend, it will be displayed through user interface. So for this purpose, one text view is also used. So in this case, if you see the result, okay, result will be displayed through text view, and no1 no2, that is number 1 number 2 will be considered through edit text. So in short, those are declared as edit text, and next one is nothing but the submit button which is used. Okay, so including all 4 components from palette or dragged and dropped within this. Okay, so just open my presentation file again. So if you see the user, that is A part, you should remember some points. Okay, so within user interface view, you should see when you are going to drag and drop the required components. That is, that is, in our case we have used one text view field, 2 edit text fields, and 1 button. So after that you need to set the margins of the respective components. Now just open intro4.png. You can see the all components has been arranged with respect to the margins from top to bottom, from left to right also. Now how to set its margin is very simple example, very simple thing. If you consider, say, button, submit button, in our case we have used. So if you single click on the button, okay, it will shows you the 4 points which you need to move towards upward, downward, left and right. Okay, so according to that, automatically its margin will be adjusted, and again same thing will be adjusted within your XML file also. So this is very important thing, that first of all you should adjust the margins of the selected component. Okay, so this is a very important thing while designing your user interface. That's why I have mentioned the second point as margin adjustment. Now third point is set attributes of used components in user interface. That is this third point I have mentioned in my presentation file, because after setting up your margin, okay, you can run your Android Studio to check whether the user interface is done properly or not, and your selected components has been adjusted properly or not according to the user requirement. And after that you can set the attributes of used components in user interface. So now how to set attributes, as I have already mentioned previous minutes ago, like previously, if you single click on the desired component, it will display the set of attribute properties of that particular component, out of which you need to set the id of that particular component. Now this id basically you can set based on your requirement, okay, but you should remember that id, because same id will be referenced further within your main activity.java file. Okay, so that's why I mentioned this very important step in your in your points to be remember point. So you should set attributes of used component in user interface also. So this is your a point, that is first point related to your user interface. Okay, again I'm repeating same thing. Okay, while developing your user interface, you can use palette to use the desired options within your palette. You can select the desired component from palette to make your user interface. Second thing is adjust margins of the selected components. Third point is just try to set the attributes of used components in user interface. That is very important attribute is your Android application. So just try to go through my notes again. Where I have mentioned the first point as declare, next point as retrieve, third is call, fourth one is convert, and last one is deliver. Okay, so those are key principles of programming which are applicable in all programming languages. So basically it's up to you. Okay, see, it's up to you in the sense based on the programmer's logic. Basically it may vary, some points may be required or may not be required. Like first step is declare. See, you can compare same programming with another programming also. Like if you are writing in C code, if you are writing some code in C programming language for addition of two numbers, now what will be your possible steps is, like, first of all you should declare the variables based on data type. Data type can be anything. Okay, so your always first step is declaring variables. So same point is included in this Android app development. Next step is retrieval. Okay, now retrieval in the sense whatever be value you are going to assign to that particular variable, it might be user defined or it might be by default you might be have assigned some value to that particular variable. So this is nothing but retrieval value. Now if you have declared any user defined function, or you might be calling some default functions, so this is calling step, that is your third step. In some cases you may need to convert the respective values. This is calling step, that is your third step. In some cases you may need to convert the respective values into the desired data types. Like by default you might be have declared some variable, or some value might be coming in some another data type. Only probably you may need to convert it into another data type. So this is a conversion state, that is convert. Okay, in short, let's say your value might be coming in a string format. Possibly you may need to convert into double format, then this step might be applicable. And last one is nothing but deliver, that is delivering the calculated value to the respective outcome, that is displaying the output. So this is nothing but your delivering step. So basically, and one more point is included as apply. Okay, that is applying in the sense, let's say addition of two numbers. So in short, you are applying something to make its calculation part, and then only you are delivering this information. So in short, this is also very important point in this case, that is applying something to generate its output. So those are key principles of programming. Now same key principles you can remember while developing Android application also. So for more understanding of this theory part, now let's consider very simple example, like how to develop calculator application. Now actually I have explained very simple example, like I have considered one example where you can consider two inputs as a number, and this application example will just make addition of two numbers and it will try to display. Okay, so here in this case you can see that the above key principles are used to explain this Android program. Okay, now just see the example. Okay, where okay, basically this is Java code, that is main activity.java file for developing Android application to make a addition of two numbers only. So obviously first part, just try to go through my presentation file. Okay, that is second page, which includes first of all a set of packages. Now those packages are used based on requirement, like in some cases the packages might be required to the packages might be related to mathematics, some packages might be related to the graphics, some packages might be related to the random function, and so on. So based on requirement, the desired package can be used. Now here the first important thing is the class comes. Okay, it is denoted, it is syntaxed as public class main activity extends app compact activity. So within this class only, the obviously what is class and so on, you have already learned what is package, what is function, main function, user defined function, variable, data type, and so on. So I'll just try to explain same thing with respect to the Android application or Android code only. Like within your class, as you can see that first step I have mentioned it as a declaration. Okay, so basically here in this step you can declare here the desired variable, that is user defined variable will be declared there. Now in rest of the programming languages you have learned the data types, basically like integer, double float, and so on. So based on that data type only you are supposed to declare the data type based variable only. But in this case you need to consider the component type which you are going to reference or used within this Java file from user interface. So you need to declare the user defined variable with respect to that component type only. Like in our case, our user interface, just try to open intro 4.png, which includes the four components. Okay, first component is text view, second one is edit text 1, another one is edit text 2, that is edit text, and last one is your button. So in short, you need to declare the desired variables for that particular component type. Okay, so obviously we need to use edit text, that is the syntax is private space edit text space e1 comma e2, that is we have used e1 and e2 as a two user defined variables for edit text as a component type. Another variable is declared as text view component type, that is private text view, t1 is user defined variable name. In this way again you can declare for the button also, whose syntax is private space button space the user defined variable name, whatever we wish to give it. So though this is nothing but your declaration step. See, basically I have used one shortcut method. So without declaration step also you can use the same variable within your Android code also. So I'll come to that step, but you should know what is the declaration step. That's why I have used this. I have specially mentioned this syntax here, that is the statements here, by using comments within this Android code. Okay, now next part is here your instance based function. So basically your instance based function is nothing but, in short, whatever be instance is happening within your user interface, so based on that this activity will be performed. So what will be our main task is, okay, we need to after clicking on that submit button, it should retrieve the values from two edit text fields. That is we have used two edit text fields for getting input from user for number 1 and number 2. And okay, so after clicking on submit button, it will retrieve the values from edit text 1 and edit text 2 through. Okay, so instance, in short, some kind of instance will be created. It will be listened by this function declare here within this .java file. Now when this button will be clicked, okay, based on that you can see within this Android code again, public void on button click view. That is, here directly the on button click function is called or used within this code. Okay, so after that this kind of, that is, this function will be called after that event basically. That is, when on click listener will be called, so based on that this function will be executed. Now this function includes, as I have mentioned, the key principles of Android application programming. Okay, so second step is declaration and retrieval step. Okay, so you can see that here within declaration step itself the variables are declared as well as the retrieval step is also done. Okay, so in short, the as in above I have made the same thing as a comment, that is declaration step. Now purposely I have mentioned it as comment because you should have idea about where those variables can be declared required within this .java file. Okay, but this will be in you can see the blue box includes the declaration and retrieval step. So in this way also, in shortcut, basically you can also declare the variable also, and you can retrieve also directly. So without wasting time you can do the same thing also. So you can see the syntax, how to declare and how to retrieve simultaneously, like the component type used and the user defined variable, that is edit text e1 equal to within bracket edit text, that is the component view used, then find view by id, then within bracket edit text, that is the component view used, then find view by id, then within bracket r dot id dot the id name which is provided within your user interface. As I have already mentioned that within user interface you should remember the attribute property, which is important, is nothing but the id of that particular component. So here you need to use same component, which, that is the id attribute which you have declared or used while developing your user interface. Now same thing again, just go to the next line, that is edit text e2 equal to same syntax for the text view also, even though the same syntax is used. Okay, so this is how you can directly declare and retrieve the state. Now next step is conversion. Now here is very key point in Android application development. Now always remember, whatever value is coming from your user interface, it is always in the form of string value only. Even though you are typing for text, even though if you are typing for number, or even though if you are editing some different information, it is always in the string format. So as you have already learned the basics of any programming language or any data types, the string cannot be added with another string. That is, if your intention is to make addition of two numbers, the string plus string may give you some another result. So for this purpose you need to convert again the received information into the desired the desired data type. So in this case it is a very simple example which makes addition of two integers only, not even though the addition of double. Okay, so you can get reference of my batch students, okay, where we have already performed this example. That is the you can get the references from E, F, G and H batch students to understand in more depth same thing again, or you might be already learned the same part, like how to convert the received string format into the desired data type format. Okay, so just try to revise it again here. So within this conversion step, okay, so the converted value will be stored into the user defined variable value, same thing with number 2 also. Now third step, that is the next step, is applying something in the sense, in this case basically the addition of two numbers will be stored here within some variable only. And last one is very important, which is delivery. So again the sum or so the addition will be delivered to your user interface screen. Now again you should remember, even though when the value is retrieved, it is from user interface, it is always in the form of string. Again in reverse order, while delivering the same value to the user interface, you need to again convert the same value into the string format only, because if you see the int sum equal to no1 plus no2, so this sum variable stores the addition of two numbers, which is in always integer format, since we have declared it in integer data type only. So again you need to convert it into the string only. That's where this integer 2 dot to string function is used in this case again. So this is just introduction to Android Studio, and the basic example I have considered to explain you how any Android application is developed in Android Studio. You know, so this is just an introduction to Android Studio. So probably in next lecture I'll try to explain you one example from our practical session, that is from the list of practical assignments, to explain it in more depth. And then after that probably in next session, not next to next session, probably I'll start with next unit, that is your sixth unit. Thank you.